Hey Honors Algebra, it's Mrs. Dean here the night before your first big algebra test, and I am going to try and do a pretest video. My mouse is not working, so I'm having to use my little mouse pad on my computer, and I'm not very good at that, I'll just be honest. Alright, so we're going to watch this. You can do it on notebook paper with me, however you want to do it, but I'm just going to work through it and kind of pause a little bit. You can do it however you want. Alright, so I've got a couple of them right here. We're going to start right here with the first one. You are going to have one with fractions on your test. So if you want to take a second and write it down, 2/3 times x plus 6 equals 3 times x plus 1 minus 8x. I'm going to start off hippity-hoppity, distributive property. And I'm going to multiply all of this. Pause this video. If you want to try it for real, pause your video, work it, and then watch me work it. Okay, I'm going to assume that you've unpaused it now. 2 over 3 times x, that's going to be 2/3 x. 2 over 3 times 6, 6 times 2 is 12, divided by 3, that'll be 4, equals. Remember, you have a calculator that will do alpha y equals, that will do this fraction, and then you can say times 6 for you. 3 times 3 will be 9x, 3 times 1 will be plus 3, and then I've got minus 8x on the end. 2 terms on this side, 3 on this side. Remember, when you have 3 terms, something's probably going to go together. I noticed that the x's will go together. So 2/3 x plus 4, I sound like a ride at Six Flags. 9x minus 8x will give me 1x plus 3. Just the way I'm talking anyway. Anyway, it's kind of funny. Alright, put the x's on one side, the numbers on the other. I'm going to move 4 over by subtracting. Alright, so those are going to cancel. This right here will leave me with -1. Because I don't have a lot of room, I'm going to go ahead and move my x's to the other side. This is a positive x. Remember, I want it to be 0, so I'm going to subtract an x. That will take it off. I'm going to subtract 1x over here. Now, this is a fraction, and we're subtracting the whole number 1. 1 and 2/3. When I subtract, I'm going to have 1/3 left. -1 is bigger than 2/3, so that means I'm going to have a -1/3 x. So I've got -1/3 x equals -1. I'm going to come over here and rewrite that. -1/3 x equals -1. Now this is a fraction. It does not matter, because if I had 2x equals 4, to get the x alone, I would divide by 2, right? They would cancel out. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and x would equal 2. Just because my number right here is now a fraction, don't let it mess you up. You do the same thing. Divide by -1/3. 1/3, 1/3, and divide by -1/3 over here. Now, here's the trick. When you do this on your calculator, I'm going to pull my calculator over. It's kind of charging, but I'm going to show you on here because I know this is how most of you will do it. All right. You would say a couple of different ways to do it. I'm going to do alpha y equals, and I'm going to do my fraction bar. And I'm going to put -1 on top. On the bottom, I need to put 1/3, right? So I'm going to do alpha y equals again on the bottom and say -1 over 3. Look at that. -1 divided by 1/3. There it is. Looks just like my paper. I hit enter and it tells me 3. So x equals 3. Can I check my answer? Absolutely. I could plug that 3 back in here and I could work it right here if I wanted to. It looks like my cat may be coming to say hello here in a second. Alright, go back and watch that one again if you want. I'm going to try and move my mouse pad. Let me see if I can do this. Move that up. Oh, look, I did it. Yay. Alright, here we go. -2 parentheses 3x minus 7 plus 20x. Alright, hippity-hoppity, distributive property. Here we go. Remember, pause the video if you haven't worked it yet. -2 times 3 will give me -6x. -2 times -7 will give me plus 14. Plus 20x equals 0. Don't let that 0 throw you off. 3 terms on one side. I could probably put something together. Looks like 20x and -6x. That will give me 14x. So I'm going to mark those off that I used them. I still have this plus 14 equals 0. Man, what does that mean? Huh. Well, let's think about this. X is on one side, numbers on the other. On the x side, I have that 14 right there that I don't want. So I'm going to move 14 by making it equal 0 to the other side. Okay? Got to cancel it out. So that leaves me with 14x over here equals 0 minus 14 is still -14. To get x alone, I undo this multiplication with division. and x equals -1. All right, could I check it? Absolutely. I would plug -1 back in for those x's and see if it works out. And it should. All right. Rewatch that one if you need to. Okay, so let me pull this down a little bit. And I also want to try and, nope, go the other way. Well, I'm just going to pull it up because I don't know how to do that on my computer. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to give you a figure, and you're going to have one like this on your test. All of these came straight off your test. Not exactly, but I had one like this. Take a second, look at that. All right, write an expression to represent the perimeter. Expression is something that does not have an equal sign. So an expression to represent, I know opposite sides are the same. So perimeter is walking around the outside. So I'm going to start right here. This would be 2x plus 2x plus 1 plus 2x plus 2x plus 1. Now something on here people always miss on my test is simplify. I don't want to see that as your answer. I want to see 2, 2, 2, and 2. 2, 4, 6, 8. So that's 8x plus 1, 2. This is an expression to represent the perimeter. Now, did you have to do this? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. You could have just said 2, 4, 6, 8, 8x, 1, 2, plus 2. You could have gone straight to that to write that expression. Now, the next part of this question is going to be, what if I give you a perimeter? What if I tell you the perimeter is 36? Can you tell me the length of each side? Yes, because I know the perimeter is 8x plus 2, and I know that now I know the perimeter is 36. So, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. I'll draw this down so you can kind of see what I'm doing. That would cancel, and I'd have 8x equals 34. Oh, I messed that up. So instead of 36, let's say it's 34. I know you're like, what, Mrs. Dean? That's okay. I just want it to come out even for us. 34. So that means that this, I'll fix mine. The perimeter is now 34. So 8x plus 2 equals 34. Subtract 2 from both sides, making this 32. And then I'll divide both sides by 8 to get the x alone. So x will equal 4. Now that I know the x value, how can I find the width and the length of each side? Well, I go back up here, and I'm going to take this 4, and I'm going to plug it in. What is 2 times 4? That's 8. So these are 8. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1. These are 9. So the length would be 8, and the width would be 9. All right. On to the next one. Sequences. Here we go. I give you some pictures, and I tell you to create a table to show the first 5 terms of this sequence. Okay, so remember to create a table. A couple of different ways to do it. I'm going to do it tall-wise. I'm going to do x and y. Remember with this sequence, go back to kindergarten. What did happen first? What happened second? So what happened first? What happened second? What happened third? What happened fourth? So when I put it in here, it's always what happened first, second, third, fourth, fifth, because it wants the first 5 terms. Now, the first term has 1, 2, 3, 4 shapes. The second term, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shapes. The third one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shapes. I see a pattern here. This one should have how many? Hopefully you said 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many should the fifth have? Yeah, hopefully by now you notice that common difference of 2. So this should have 12. Create a table, first 5 terms, boom, there it is. What's the common difference? Oh, 2. How many circles are there in the 10th term? Now, when I ask you this on the test, it's going to be, you can show it with the table or however you want to do it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 14, 16, 18, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, comma, dot, dot, dot. How many are there in the 10th? And I'm going to circle 22. 22 figures. On the test, I'm going to ask you to either create a table and show me or write a sequence and show me. You're going to be able to do either way that you understand better. All right, now we're going to use the variable n to write the expression for the nth term. This one I asked for the 10th term. What's the 10th term? Now I want to know, what's the nth term? What rule could I write that would work every single time? All right, remember to do this. We take A1, which is the first term. We did this on the Nearpod, plus the common difference. D is the common difference. Parentheses n minus 1. So in this situation, the first term is 4, plus the common difference, which is 2, times n minus 1. This is what I would use to find the nth term. If I want to know the 100th term, I would put 100 right here, hash it out. All right, watch that again if you need to. Go back and look at Yellowstone in your homework. That is the one that solves for that one. All right, one of the harder ones on your test is not really that hard. It's just, it seems to be confusing. On this one, you have to tell me in words what you are doing. All right, so I'm going to give you a problem, and I'm going to say that's the original equation. Solve it and write the steps. So the first thing I need to do is what? What do we call that when we multiply? We're going to say distribute. Okay, so let's actually distribute. 5x plus 2x plus 2 equals 9. Okay, so we distributed. What should we do next? Well, I notice that there's 3 terms on this side, so I'm going to put something together. What can I put together? Yeah, 5 and 2. When you put stuff together, what do we call that? Combine like terms. All right, so let's do that. 5 and 2 give me 7x plus 2 equals 9. All right, what should we do next? Well, I'm thinking we should probably move 2 to the other side. What did I just do? I subtracted, or subtract 2. Okay, so that cancels out, and this gives me 7. What am I doing right here when I cancel this out and make 9 minus 2, 7? Hopefully you're going, that is called combine like terms again. Okay, we're almost done. How do I get rid of that 7? I do what? I divide. So I'm going to say divide by what? Divide by 7. And then I'm going to cancel that out and get x equals 7 divided by 7 is 1. I'm not combining like terms there. What am I doing? Oh, sorry, I was taking off my hoodie. I'm simplifying. All right, so we're going to say simplify. And that is the end. Now, if you get to this one on the test and you're like, oh, I hate this one, at least work it. Work it and show your steps. If you can't do this side, you're going to miss points, but at least you could work it. Okay, so think about that whenever you're working one like that. Oh, my mouse didn't work. Hold on. Well, let me get there. All right. Solve for y, literal equations. Okay. Hey, will you fill us up with water? Okay. So I'm going to draw my line, and I'm going to solve for y. So one thing I notice is there are 2 y's on this one. Look at that. Y is on both sides. So I'm going to move this one over here by subtracting 2y so that I have all the y's on the same side. So that's going to give me 3x equals 4 minus 2 is 2y. Well, I'm solving for y, so I need to get the 2 away from the y. I would divide by 2. So those would cancel, and y would equal 3x over 2. I can't really do anything with that. I could put 3 over 2x like this, but you could also just leave it as 3x over 2. Either way. But you need to notice y is on both sides. So watch for that. Okay, one like this, solve for a. Look at that, a, and a. I want to get all my a's on the same side. But as I look at this, I notice, what if I just look at this side? I see 3 terms. Usually if there's 3, there's something I could put together. 3 and what would this one be? 3 minus 1. So that's really 2a. I'm going to mark them off because I'm using them. Plus 4b. Now I just got a and b. Okay, so let's equal a. Well, we're solving for a, so let's move this a over here. This is 2a, so I'm going to subtract 2a. 2a's will cancel. 1 minus 2 would be negative 1a equals 4b. Now, you might have to look again. What was I solving for? Oh yeah, I'm solving for a. So I need that negative 1 away from the a. So a equals, those cancel, 4b divided by negative 1 just makes it negative 4b. What if I did something like this? If I said x equals 2y plus 3 minus x. If I said, is this simplified? Is this equation right here solved for x? Is it solved for x? Would you say yes or no? I'm hoping you're saying, no, it's not, because there are x's on both sides. To solve for an equation like this one's not solved for a because there's a's on both sides. In order to solve and have it solve for whatever variable you're solving for, the one you're solving for has to be all alone. If I had x equals 2y plus 3, this right here is solved for x because x is over here alone. Okay? In order to solve for a variable, it has to be all alone. Keep that in mind because I've got one on like an open-ended question on your test about that. Oh, I can't do it that way. Let me move. Hold on. Move this up. Okay. And then we do have some inequalities on here. Just a reminder. This one, I don't think oh, you know what? Let me make this a 12 right here. 8x plus 7 minus 6x greater than 12x plus 9. It's probably not going to come out to be nice and neat because I did that. 1, 2, 3 terms on each side, on this side. So that means I can put something together. 8x and 6x. Give me 2x plus 7 greater than 12x plus 9. Now here's what I know. I know most of you at this point would take the 2x and move it over here. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to subtract 12x because I want to remind you of something. Negative 12 and 2 give me negative 10x. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. Okay. So those are going to cancel, and that's going to give me 2. Okay, I'm going to come, oh, well, no, I'll just do it right here. I need to divide and get rid of that 10, so I'm going to divide by negative 10 on both sides. But if I divide by a negative, I have to remember to flip the sign. So x, flip the sign, 2 divided by negative 10 will be negative 1/5. Now, I'm going to have you graph these. So I'll have 0, I'll have positive 1/5 and negative 1/5. It's negative, so I'm going to circle it. This does not have the line underneath it, so I leave it open. It points to the left. It's pointing that direction, so I shade to the left. Now, I just want to point out on this one, I know I'm right at 20 minutes. Thanks for hanging in there if you made it to the end. If you went the other way, your answer, let's see, you would have gotten 2x plus 7 greater than 12x plus 9. If I would have subtracted 2x, let's just look at it. I'll work it real fast. 10x plus 9 greater than plus 7, I would subtract 9. So I'd get negative 2 is greater than 10x, and then x is greater than negative 1. I'm doing it real fast. So I would have gotten this. When you get this, it's the same answer as this other one, right? It's just read backwards. But I want you to notice, see how this arrow is pointing to the right this way? I shaded the other way. So when these are on the opposite side, you have to shade the other way. So be careful. Or just turn it around and put x in negative 1/5. It's pointing to the x, so make sure it's still pointing to the x when you flip it. And now you have to read from the left to the right. All right, guys, I was trying to get through that in 20 minutes. I really wanted 15, but thanks for watching. Good luck on your test tomorrow.